Okay, one last thing I want to talk about with the urban legend essay is your conclusion. Now, the conclusion paragraph is the one that typically gets forgotten about. It's thrown together at the last minute. And admittedly, it is the least important paragraph of your essay. But that's not to say that it is unimportant, okay? Because how you end something often has a big impact on how your whole essay is perceived. Right? Think about a favorite TV show. If it has a really good last episode, for instance, people love it, or if a movie has a really good ending. But you can have a great show that goes on for 10 years, great memories, right? People love the episodes, they love the story, but it can have a really bad finale or something that's lackluster and it loses all of its appeal, right? And people kind of remember that last thing as a big disappointment, right? So you want to make sure that you avoid that by having a strong conclusion. Now, what should a conclusion be? Well, this is difficult to say because depending on your approach, you might take on things a little bit differently. But what I will say is this. First of all, pay attention to the techniques in Quick Access Compact. They give you some good ideas. But what you want to avoid is a summary. Okay, write this down. A conclusion is not a summary. There's no need for you to repeat all the points you just made because I just read them. And I can easily go back and reread them if I forgot. Okay? I know at one point, because I was told this too. At one point you were told to preview points in your introduction, 1, 2, 3, then make the points in the body, and then repeat the points to review them in the conclusion. Yeah, that's incredibly repetitive, redundant, and not a whole lot of excitement for the reader. Okay, you don't need to preview your points, right? As you saw in the introduction information, but also with your conclusion, if you review the points, you're just wasting your reader's time and it can be boring. Okay, so instead, have a shorter, really hard-hitting conclusion that tells your reader now what. In other words, right? You've already made your analysis with your urban legend essay, for instance. You've already analyzed what it tells you about the culture, but think about the last question of now what. Based on all that, what should the reader think about going forward? So if this is, if the legend had a big impact in terms of a social ill, right, something that's wrong with society, briefly talk about that. Or if you're just giving some general comments about why it's important to be more critical thinker so you don't get fooled by urban legends, that would be okay too. But think about it as your final thoughts, not repeating what you've already said, but rather making some final comments to end the essay in a clear way, still saying something meaningful, but not opening up a new point that should have been in the essay, but rather bringing things to a nice close. And that'll give you a great conclusion. And remember, you can also frame time in your attention getter as well. But the conclusion is going to be great if you can bring it to a close, make those final comments, and just end your essay strong. Okay? If you have great intro, body, and conclusion, it's really going to lead to a great essay.